obviously when we consider holiness, we understand that holiness is an attribute of God. When we talk about holiness, we're talking about the attributes of God. So, um, attributes such as, God's self-sufficiency, God's sovereignty. He's all-knowing. He's omnipresent.
So,
And when I
so
consider,
even just to kind
go ahead,
of,
go ahead.
you're saying, I'm just bouncing off what you're saying. So
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
describing some of those attributes, but even
yes.
in saying some of those attributes, I would
Mhm.
say that that comes from a relational understanding of who God is, isn't it? Because in you saying he's all sufficient, he's
Yes, yes.
these things. Those are kind of revelations of what you've come to understand from him based on your own experience, right?
Yes, yes, you could say that, but also in terms of from a philosophical point of view, um, and a and that's kind of knowing and being able to give an answer to things from a logical perspective. That if God is the first cause
Hmm.
of everything, then He must have been self-sufficient. I don't need necessarily revelation to tell me that, because
Mm.
that's something that I'm able to see based upon the things around me. So we know that for there to be a beginning, for us to have come about, there had to be a person before us that enabled us then to be birthed from.
Okay,
So
I see it.
that's
I
so,
see it.
so that's when I'm talking about it like this. I'd even bring this term in where you can talk about the communicable attributes of God and the incommunicable attributes of God. So the communicable attributes of God are the attributes that we are able to have similar, well, the same attributes of God. For example, God is able to love, we are able to love. You know what I mean? God hates, God is angry, so we are able to become angry. But the incommunicable attributes of God are the attributes like, for example, Him being self-sufficient.
Mm.
We're not self-sufficient. We're not all-knowing. You know what I mean? We're not omnipresent.
And
We don't, we're not
I'd even say, kind of leaning on what you're saying,
sovereign.
is that those the
Uncommunicable.
uncommunicated, I'm going to say the ones that you can't necessarily communicate,
Yes,
um, are are the distinctness of God, and so
correct.
point
Correct.
to then
Yes.
again that
Yes.
holiness
Yes.
aspect.